Hi, I'm Kiki and I'm the Starlight Witch. Today we'll be talking about the differences between witchcraft, paganism, and Wicca. Before we go further, I think it's important to state that the traditional witch character with the hook nose and warts actually has anti-Semitic portrayals against Jewish people. It was later popularized by media as a witch. It's important to know about its hurtful nature so we can move past its hurtful past. Okay, so what is a witch? We're going to start with witchcraft first. So a witch is simply someone who practices in witchcraft. There are zero restrictions when it comes to being a witch. Gender doesn't matter. You might hear things, especially in media and books, that witch is only a term for women. That is not true. However, if you would rather call yourself a wizard or something else, go for it. Who's going to stop you? There are several different types of witches. I'm not going to get into that too much here. I think if I'm going to talk about it, I could do a separate video on that. But there's like green witches, moon witches, kitchen witches, all sorts of things. If you want a separate video on that, let me know. Witchcraft has nothing to do with religion. You can be any religion and be a witch. It doesn't matter. Now, what is witchcraft? First, it's important to understand what witchcraft is not. So real witchcraft is nothing like fantasy witchcraft or magic or whatever you want to call it. We can't make things fly. Not all witches have wands, and if they do, you don't see anything come out of them. The witch's broom is used for spiritual cleaning and not flying, and not everyone has it. It's very different. So it's important to understand what it's not. When I look up the definition of modern day witchcraft, it says witchcraft is a spiritual and magical practice that can be empowering and is not always associated with religion. It can be rooted in cycles of the earth, seasons, the cosmos, and yourself, and is impacted by the culture of the individual witch. Some say that the witchcraft is a tool for connecting to the earth, healing oneself or others, and finding alternative ways to process the world. While that's true, it doesn't necessarily tell you what it is, though. For me personally, witchcraft is a spiritual practice. It's basically just a different way of looking at the world. But witchcraft is about connecting, manipulating, and directing the energies of the world to get a desired result. You can use any energy around you, energy from crystals, herbs, the sun, moon, earth. It doesn't really matter. There's so many. But yeah, magic is basically manipulating and directing energy to get a desired result, and using your intention. So how do you become a witch? You simply just call yourself a witch and practice in witchcraft. There's no initiation. No one has to tell you you can be a witch. You just simply start. I think it's important to mention that you don't have to do a spell or a ritual every single day to be considered a witch. You can also take a break at any time for however long you want or however long you need, and that still doesn't change the fact that you're a witch. So now on to paganism. What is a pagan? A pagan is someone who's a part of a pagan religion. Pagan is it's not a term from one religion. There are so many pagan religions. And being a pagan has nothing to do with being a witch, but there are several witches who are pagans, like myself. So what is paganism? Paganism is, like I said, is not a term for just one religion. When you look up the definition of paganism, it says a religion other than one of the main world religions, specifically a non-Christian or pre-Christian religion. There are so many pagan religions, such as heathenry, druidry, Wicca, Hellenism, and many, many more. Because there are so many different pagan religions, there are so many different pagan beliefs. A reoccurring belief in many pagan religions is the aspect of honoring, worshiping, and connecting to nature. But there are so many different beliefs. So how do you become a pagan? Like witchcraft, I feel like with most pagan religions you can just say you're a pagan and start practicing in it. However, there may be a few pagan religions where you do need to be initiated into by somebody else. I'm not entirely sure, but I bet they're out there. When looking into paganism, make sure that the religion is open. It's pretty easy to find out, just a quick Google search and you can find it. So now on to Wicca. I'm not Wiccan, so I don't know a lot about it. Please do your own research and take everything I say with a grain of salt, but I have looked into it. I did used to consider myself Wiccan, but I've moved past that. It wasn't the right fit for me. So a Wiccan is someone who's a part of the Wicca religion. If you are a Wiccan, you are both a witch and a pagan. However, not all Wiccans consider themselves pagan. Wicca is it is a pagan religion revolving around witchcraft. Traditionally, I believe Wiccans only have two gods traditionally, a sun god and a moon goddess. But I would imagine that some modern Wiccans might believe in more or none. I think it just depends on the person. Wicca also observes the Wheel of the Year, which is seasonal and celestial events happening throughout the year, celebrated as holidays. The holidays are celebrate the birth, ascension, and death of the sun god. So I believe traditionally, to become a traditional Wiccan, you have to be initiated into a coven by a Wiccan priest. But there are several more modern Wiccans who do not go through initiation, and they are more self-dedicated. So that's just a basic introduction to the differences between them. If you want, I could try to do a deeper video on one of the subjects. Just let me know. That's all I have right now. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!